Welcome back once more, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Katowice Royale, and things are really starting to hot up here in the solos competition. The winner of our last game, QLN, was good enough to catch up with us yesterday alongside his teammate Vince. So let's have a look at what they had to say and get down to the action.
Zacząłem grać w Fortnite'a, ponieważ wybuchł na niego taki duży boom, to było około drugiego sezonu. Wtedy wszyscy zaczęli grać, podchwyciłem bakcyla i odpaliłem gierkę, a dalej to już nie dało się przestać.
Zacząłem grać w Fortnite'a, ponieważ pewnego dnia po prostu mój brat namówił mnie, powiedział, że warto spróbować. No i tak już zostało do teraz.
Zauważyliśmy ten moment, żeby przejść na profesjonalną stronę jakby Fortnite'a w momencie, kiedy były organizowane pewne gierki dla lepszych graczy, zaczęliśmy wygrywać, zajmowaliśmy topowe pozycje. W końcu ktoś się odezwał, przyszła organizacja i zdecydowaliśmy, że dobra, teraz. Naszym największym atutem powiedziałbym, że jest dobra, pasywna gra do końcowych stref. To, co moglibyśmy poprawić, to komunikacja właśnie w tych końcowych strefach, bo tam jest dużo szumu, dużo się dzieje.
Żeby stać się jeszcze lepszym duo w Fortnite, staram się grać jak najwięcej scrimów, czy też turniej pop-up w grze.
Myślę, że najważniejszym aspektem w grze Fortnite jest myślenie bardziej strategiczne, ponieważ no, możesz być najlepszy w budowaniu czy strzelaniu, ale jeśli podejmujesz złe decyzje, to i tak końcowo przegrasz.
All right then, guys, so we've caught up with obviously QLN and his teammates Vin's there, but I think we need to talk a little bit about QLN, because with that last victory royale, he's actually found himself on top of our solos leaderboard on 234 points. So he's got to be feeling pretty good about things going into these final 3 rounds.
And not only is he at first place with that score, he's 5 points ahead of Shikuni. Like, the fact that Shikuni's won 2 matches, he's had 2 victory royales, and yet QLN's been able to overtake him now.
Yeah, that just goes to show how important it is to pull off a good game and how much you can change, how big of jumps you can make in the scoreboard. And as they mentioned, QLN, actually, we do have the scoreboard here coming up. So
I mean, you can look at it here, 72 points pretty much. I think that was my very quick math. So around 70 points between first place and 10th place there, gentlemen. And we've seen you can rack up 100 points in just one game. A few players obviously maybe thinking about just playing a little bit safer towards the end here to make sure they're getting those placements. But you're looking at players maybe like Hoopex and Camzon there at the bottom. They're the ones who are going to be looking for eliminations along their way to that end game. It's a real sort of balancing act for these players now about how they want to approach these last final rounds.
There was such a good point made when we went downstairs and talked to the other guys, the other casters, and Bala was talking about, consistency is good, but consistency won't necessarily win you first place, won't win you that trophy. And we've seen people like Teak, QLN now have these standout games that have been able to make them have leaps and bounds pushing up that leaderboard. So for Evil in particular, speaking of consistency, he's been one of the most consistent players we've seen now in solos. He needs to have that breakthrough game if he wants this victory.
yeah, that's right. We see some replays coming up here from the previous game, and I really wanted to see this perspective of what Precious really could do different here, but it doesn't really seem like he could do anything. Like, he was stuck by the storm, and he did have the wall blocking him there. And
right. So I think the only one thing maybe he could have done differently was the fact that he had so much HP, and he hit the first shot. He was not forced to get aggressive necessarily. He could have maybe backed into the storm, taken a couple damages of ticks of damage, get my words right, and then come back in with a better angle, because he knows he has a health advantage, right? He has the distance far enough away from his opponent that he's not going to get one pumped, that he could easily take that victory. At least I felt like he could have. And thing is, like, Precious, he needed that. He's currently in 11th place. But if he won that 1v1, he would have jumped up in prize money, in earnings. He would have jumped past 9th place and allowed him to take home even more if he intentionally hold that throughout the rest of the
And
day.
that's going to hurt, isn't it? We get towards the end of the games here, and one missed shot like that, when you have the opportunity to not only get that victory royale, but those extra points on the board to bump you up the leaderboard, is something that, you're not going to have too many opportunities to do that, to get that big pump in points in just one play. So obviously something he's going to want to look back on, but I'm sure if you offered him 2nd place at the start of the game, it would have been something that he would people probably would have taken, to be honest with you, guaranteeing those points on the board. But looking ahead to round 5 now, one player I want to talk about a little bit is Evil, because he seems to have always been in that end game, always been picking up a couple of eliminations along the way, and he's kind of positioned himself very nicely. He's currently sat in 5th place on 196 points, about 30 or 40 points behind the leader, to sort of make a really strong late run here and potentially become our winner.
I think we're seeing, though, is that playing for late game is not necessarily the key thing to do. Yes, it gets you into some points, but these eliminations that are going on are so big. The people who are sitting in the storm wings for such a long period of time, waiting for those moving circles and eventually get out. Yeah, great, you're doing that, but when you're QLN, you can pick up 35 points, over half of what you get for finishing first anyways, just off of limbs alone. You got to change up that style.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you are under a lot of pressure now. We're heading into game number 5. A lot's at stake. The players they realize, I'm running out of time. What should I do? Should I keep pushing for placement, like take that risk to get those extra points from placement, and like skip eliminations altogether until the absolute late game? But it is very punishing when you do go for that late game and then just get crushed before you even reach top 50.
I think there's 2 mindsets here, right? You can do that, and that's great, but I don't think you're ever going to come out first place in a tournament because of that. If you're just playing for late game and you're not playing for limbs, at least in this format. If you want to be the superstars, you want to be the one taking home that trophy, you have to be willing to get aggressive throughout the entire game here, pick up those eliminations, and get those finishes.
I think another good point on that as well is we're talking about all the players that are in sort of the top 10, top 20 at the moment who are still kind of in with a shot of taking it home, but there's other players in the lobby at the moment who become even more wild cards because they don't have as many points on the board, so they're going to be super aggressive in fights. And if you are playing for endgame, like, Shikuni, Macias, QLN, a couple of these players who, want to pick up eliminations along their way to the victory royale, you bump into a couple of these players who are, as you say, playing with nothing to lose, and they challenge you and you get taken out early, you're kind of like, all right, well, that's a game I've lost now.
And they do kind of have to go for it now. I mean, just realize, like you said, there's a lot of wildcard now with not so many points. And that makes the coming games so much more dangerous, right? So I think you do have to change your playstyle now from actually going to, instead of going for placements, you do have to realize that, okay, I will be pushed a lot. I'm going to be pushed a lot these games because eliminations will matter. So maybe people change their playstyles and go for eliminations instead.
And that's an interesting thing, is it? Because there will be more chances for eliminations now if you have those people pushing. So I think we're going to see a lot of action here, and this is where mistakes kind of get highlighted as well. Put yourself in Precious' shoes. If he makes that mistake in an early game against someone who's pushing him, that can throw him outside of the top 10 now.
It can, and hopefully for him, he can kind of, keep that out of his mind for now, not really worry about that. But back to your note about wildcards, it makes me think of King. The fact that he got like 6 eliminations, like 30 circles in, the thing is, a player like that, if he can do that again and get a top finish, we can easily see him bump his way up to top 10. And the thing is, with still 3 rounds left to go, it's anyone's game. Just because you're number 1 right now doesn't mean you're going to maintain that.
That's true. We really did see that. Even top 30 of the scoreboard were 100 points, I think, and that is close.
Yep, 7 limbs, first place finish, and we've already seen that.
Yeah, we've already seen that a couple of times, as you say, Jason, and it's something that you wouldn't be surprised to see again. I mean, we've seen one player who's kind of hanging on at the moment and keeping in there from one single 100-point game. But speaking of games, I think we've done enough talking, gentlemen, so it's time to get into round number 5 now. A lot of pressure on these players. Let's kick this one off.
All right, round 5, 3 left to go. And we're going to find out, with every round, I think I love so far here, Martin, how close this solo tournament has been. It's really like you cannot predict who's going to come out victor. You can predict who's consecutively going to get, the top placings, but number 1 position right now, hell, 1 through 3rd, I could not tell you who's going to end up where.
Yeah, I mean, when you have solos, and like we mentioned, like if you do push people and you get that loot, you do get this snowball effect. So I've really been loving to see much more action today compared to yesterday. And
yeah, like the thing is, the aggressive styles, the non-stop action, the fighting left and right, it's definitely more enjoyable to watch. And I feel like it rewards a different skill set of players, where if you're duos and you play really well together as a team, that's a different set than playing solo and making these high-pressure situations and these high-pressure decisions and make them work for you. So definitely like a clear distinction between the two and how it can play. It's just like saying, putting the 2 of the best players in the world together doesn't necessarily make you the best duo. It's about the synergy together. But put them into solos, and that's where things kick off.
Absolutely, and we've seen that before. I can't really draw out any specific names, but we do have some teams in the professional scene who are really good performers in duos, but not so much in solos. Me, myself, I work better in a team than I do solo. I need someone else to make those decisions for me.
Well, right now, the decision's being made here out of WillQ to force this fight. 84 HP left. He actually gets a nice tag, and the tag shotgun. Let's go, boys. Gets the elimination.
I mean, like we said earlier, like if you have attack and you need to use it, like sometimes you just have to go with it, and it works.
And you wanted a pickaxe over that.
I mean,
oh, you did say gray. You did say gray tag. Okay.
Green is okay. Green is all right.
All right, so he gets that one, gets that elimination on the board. I'm curious to see now if he can get more over the course of this round. Venox and Makaleli might have a chance to force the fire. You can see him actually just putting the wall down and his way through. And the SMG, well, not connect enough, and Makaleli gets his elim.
You see, it's pretty rough here. They both seem to drop in at an outpost and wasted a lot of times there during their standoff. It's not too much loot over there, so I'm pretty sure we'll see him push people and try to go for some snowballing.
So this is unsafe, putting bottle rockets and lining them inside of a house. Please do not do that at home, because your house can end up looking exactly like this, except not as easy to build back up again. Kaku gonna be on the high side. Emmer gonna be waiting with his own tag as well here towards the lower side. I like this kind of play though, playing things slow, letting Kaku come to him. In worst case scenario, Kaku leaves, right? He gets to farm out his materials. He gets to fight another day. And it looks like that might be happening, but you can tell Kaku knows there's someone here.
Yeah, he will not give this up. He knows that he has the upper hand, and I mean, Emmer just chilling there under the stairs. That is a pretty obvious place.
Harry Potter in it.
Harry Potter in it. Yeah.
Well, now we're gonna see another fight here. Jchu, who had a fantastic performance yesterday in duos, up against Rel. And Rel is actually able to transition away from the high ground, but he doesn't get the follow-up shot. Jchu is gonna get the elimination, and he didn't take much damage on top of that, as you can see, back to 200 HP.
A really good spot here for Jchu. I mean, if you get these factories by your own. Oh, Shikuni here in a fight in Fatal. He does have the high ground, not so much the upper hand. Boohoo down with 200 health, just below him. But yeah, Shikuni just gonna decide to
he can't afford to be eliminated right now, considering where he is on the standings. If you get a 0-point game, as well as Lothar, unfortunately, just got, as we saw there on the activity feed, that's going to be a major detriment. Kiri going to fall for a little bit of damage, going to chase down to Adam. He loses the high ground control, trying to edit his way back through, eventually able to take it away from him. But he's actually, I think, lost track of where his opponent is. Eventually able to get the clue, though, with the stink bombs being thrown in.
Nice use of these things, trying to make your opponent reposition. Although you are playing the low ground.
Oh my gosh. How many of these he's going to have? It's just constant gas being thrown in here. Adam able to fortify himself back up here, though. But if you're Adam, what do? Do you just edit and run?
I mean, it's really difficult here, right? I think you really do need to go for the elimination, because if you run, there's not a lot of places you can go, right? I mean, you're kind of stuck here.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's losing a lot of control of these walls too. You can see a lot of investment at Kiri to make this happen. He hits the first shot, so has 155 HP left to work with, though. And Adam is just looking. It's like saying, all right, truce, can we both escape this one? Can you let me go? But Kiri, no, he's going to want this one, and ideally he should be able to clean this up, but you can't put it past Adam. All it takes is that one pump.
It does have to be careful, though. Overextending here. Whoop. I mean, it did work, but overextending and jumping into other people's boxes has not been something that's been working out so good for people. Emmer's still alive.
Exactly. He was still alive, and might not be for much longer as Jarkus is actually able to spot him down. He's going back to that patented Emmer spot, sitting under the staircase.
Just being patient, just hoping, please sleep, please sleep. Just look at Jarkus here.
I don't know if you noticed, Kingu did fall, unfortunately, so King's going to be out of this one. The man I wanted to see pull off some ridiculous limbs. But again, he's still got 2 more rounds to go, and Jarkus, he's got to be careful.
Oh, I like this.
Take the staircase out from him?
Yeah, just blocking the way out as well, putting down the wall and then removing the stair, just making sure you get the wall as well. But, I mean, Emmer is just... Oh, he is stuck in there. Look at that.
Yep. He's stuck, and he's eliminated. And Jarkus, for all that work, yeah, get a little bit of HP back. Yeah, he gets some materials, but doesn't really get anything in terms of weaponry. And look at this. The legendary AR here for Nisik. Dynamite's being thrown in as well. He's got a lot of minis. He's got a great kit so far here in the early game.
A lot of places you can hide, but did find him. Oh, he did not spot him when he opened the door. It was hidden by the pyramid there.
Oh, that's gotta hurt. That's gonna leave a mark.
Nisik in a good position now, but Taki is making his way in. He knows that, all right, you guys are fighting, I want in as well.
I love that expect the unexpected. And that was like the perfect realization and visualization of what we mean by that, because he kept building, right? Eventually he's like, all right, you're gonna shoot this down and I'm just gonna have my shotgun ready for you.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, and looking at this, like, Haki does have pretty nice inventory, not so much ammo as I would like to see. So yeah, I mean, if he cleans this up, he's going to be in a very good position, seeing as he does have the launch pad on his hand.
Isn't that what you do? Don't you like to go for this staircase of brick to actually block up the vision, then back away and kind of throw your opponent off?
I love doing that. Instead of building with wood when you're in a build fight, build with brick. You block all of the vision when you put the stairs above you, and then you can just bait your opponent into thinking, okay, he's building up over there, but you can just take a different route.
Oh, he actually traps him as well. Hacky gets actually completely destroyed when it comes to build up towards the high ground as he tries to go for it himself. Constantly building above him, and it looks like he'll back off. And just off of that alone, Nisik was able to take high ground and take control of the fight.
Yeah, Hack decides to go down a little bit lower here, and I mean, there's a lot of buildings in play here now, but Nasix does seem to know where Hack is hanging out. But as I said, like a lot of brick buildings, you can't really pay too much attention on like where your opponent is.
Hopefully players aren't listening to music here because you need those sound cues to figure out where people are going. Hacky lost a lot of shield here, and the thing is he has a couple of small shields. He's got a big shield as well. He wants to be able to maintain those. But the thing is, if Nisa can get this cleanly, take those, he's looking solid going into the late game.
Yeah, and this right here is like, as you see, there's a lot of buildings, these shops in play. I mean look at Nasi. He just won't let him. He won't let Hacky leave. Although, I mean, it is a big building. You can sneak away, but yeah, Nasik should really clean this up before, or decide to go leave.
Yeah, and it looks like that might be the route he's going for. We can see the Bak go up against Kieru, and Kieru is not able to hit the shot here with the silent sniper rifle. He's got a lot of good weapons too. The thing is, he needs to maintain these. If you're able to take down Kieru here, you're solid yourself just because of the weapons you're now gonna have.
Oh, beautiful snipe on Baku. Well, he will capitalize on this and keep on pushing. Reloads the sniper, might be able to get one hit off as well, but we do have some third party coming in here from, who's over there? Oh, it's Smiley.
Oh, well, that's a man we've been saying a hell of a lot of over the course of these 2 days. His individual play has been phenomenal.
Dude, Kiro snipes. He hit one, and he actually hit Smiley now as well, but won't really decide to capitalize on it. I would like to see that. Like, he doesn't really have any AR ammo, but what can you do? Play it safe.
Tree going to be up in his 1v1 now as he's trying to maintain the high ground. Look at the amount of resources he's expending to force this fight and to commit to it. And every time he goes for that turn, he's still just constantly being built above, and he's not able to maintain this. Look how high up they are. This is insane.
This is very scary. They do have the zipline right next to them. They could jump down on and potentially save themselves in case someone would third party, but it doesn't look like anyone is nearby. Ooh, puts those clingers to try to break it down.
That's
but,
so smart.
Yeah, that's really smart. But they do make off a lot of sound, so, you know.
I still like to see though, like plays like that to realize, all right, he built really high. I have some clingers. Let me just drop down, throw them in there, and try to actually get some quick damage done. Crispy God trying to get this elimination on his side, but again, he's been pretty much halted so far as Retree's just been able to outbuild him. You can see the 100 damage being done. He finally gets a connection. Ooh. The clinger comes through as well. It does some damage back to him. Narachi's just trying to get these small shields off in the meantime. And he's beast out. He's like, all right, I'm not having any of this. I'm going to launch pad. I'm going to get out of this one. I don't want to fight you.
But he's in a bad position now. I saw he only had 150 materials, and that's going to be pretty rough for him unless he finds an empty spot to land and farm those back up. He did have a bunch of shields, however, so his only issue now is, like I said, mats. But I mean, we have Kaku here moving down. He's not looking too good on his health. Probably was in a little fight, but made it out. Looking good. Pop with a blue tack.
Raxer now trying to chase down Hacky, who's been able to actually get inside the building relatively clean. I'm not sure if Raxer knew he was there, but either way, you have to play out the situation as it lays. And Hacky now, he's in pursuit, trying to build up, trying to get back to this high ground position away from him, and actually try to chase now down onto Snowy.
Yeah, ooh, a lot of third partying going on here as well. We do see a lot of players in over in retail. That goes down to 25 health. Does have the medkit. Oh, does eventually go down to Snow White.
That was a great play though, with the stink bomb coming through as well.
It was really nice. But Snowy now will pick up all of that loot. There was a med kit, a bunch of, yeah, he should be doing really good right now. Heisel over here, just moving up. He does hear there's some stuff going on his left-hand side, but will choose to ignore it and just start moving further into the zone.
Hashtag still going to be live. He had a fantastic game earlier on in Game 3, finishing first in results from that match. See, Heisel still going to be transitioning. Monkey as well, as another player we pointed out is really able to jump up the standings in the duo. Poverty, haven't really been able to say his name too much. He's going to be up against Sheer here, Martin.
And Poverty is someone we recognize from the EU community. A really good player, but they are stuck here. The zone is slowly making its way, and they do have to make it up high, up from Dusty, which is high ground. I mean, this fight looks like it's going to be over pretty soon, and just as I say that, Poverty does unfortunately go down.
So again, as you mentioned before, Martin, just because you're a good duo doesn't mean you're going to be a good solo player. And you know, Poverty was one of the players, Poverty and Zeke together, that we looked at as, all right, these are a duo that are going to be a force to reckon with. Unfortunately, they've just been having some rough games over the course of these 2 days. But again, just round 5. We still have 2 more to come up after this, so can't count them out just yet. Who with the rift to go, okay, the rift to go and the shot onto Nisik, who we saw earlier on have a really interesting battle. He's actually able to overtake his opponent on high ground with that great brick staircases you mentioned before.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, look at Boo here, just hanging out in a house. Geralt far outside the zone. Ooh, an airdrop on its way to Shikuni.
Look who's fighting. We talked about this, right? We wanted to see Shikuni up against Macius, both of these two teammates in the duo tournament just yesterday. Shikuni already with 2 victory royales, Macius with some ridiculous placings and eliminations. I want to know how this is going to go between the two.
Yeah, me too. I was pretty sure I saw... Didn't Shikuni get a supply drop here? I was pretty sure I saw one about to land, but maybe it was a campfire or something. But looking pretty good in his inventory nonetheless.
He's got the slurp there. A legendary AR. Sumeru on the right-hand side was taking a little bit of pressure. And his real tie, again, another name we've been saying consistently. We'll have 2 other players around him and Shikuni. Let's see if he does actually spot out Macius, if they're actually going to go for a sort of fight.
A good decision here to rotate early, as there are a lot of players in retail. He probably heard a lot of sound going off over there. So rotating faster is a good opportunity, or a good choice rather. And yeah, going through the forest, you can pick up some mats on the way. Really nice. Yeah, pushing up.
Do want to say, by the way, I think we have about only 4 Stormwings in play at the moment, and even less people are dropping out of it. Just want to mention that because, again, we're getting to the later stages of this tournament, and being in a Stormwing, if you're not going for fights, is not going to net you eliminations. I think players are starting to realize we got to ditch these earlier on. We need these elims.
I'm pretty certain that's the case as well, just as you mentioned. You can still use the Stormwings for the rotation or just wait for an opportunity, so that might be the reason we still have some in play.
Well, Real Tie is still going to have these 2 other players here. Thing is, they all seem pretty content and just taking their time. Again, not really forcing anything, looking to play towards that late game with how hectic things can get.
You do not want to be the first person to engage in a fight here when you're 3 players so close to each other. So you just, there's no real other way to deal with this. Like, you just have to wait this out. Or, I mean, if you have heals, you can stay in the zone a little bit and wait for them to rotate.
Well, speaking of that, looks like they're taking it to heart, so you can see Sheer, he almost wants to go for a shot, but as you mentioned, doesn't want to be the first one to do that. Thing is, that storm's coming and they're going to have to move, and they don't want to invest too many resources into this. Retrieve's going to be the first one to feel the brute force of the storm behind him as he's being the first one to move. Sheer's going to drop down. Launchpad comes in there immediately. You would assume they're all going to turn and take this.
Yeah, just a free launch pad for everyone else to recycle, and...
So Skix is still alive, by the way. Icefire is on about 1 HP. Makalele, we saw earlier on, get that elimination, still alive. Aerokiz still going to be in here on top of that. I'm curious if Kyolen's alive.
I see a lot of Stormwings, actually. I see 5 in play. That could be the people who are sitting up on maybe top 10 or top 15, and all right, I'm going for placement. Got to get those secure points.
Well, you might get your points, but it won't win you tournaments, I'll tell you that. It looks like Kyolen, I've not been able to see him. Oh, he is still alive. Okay, so he's still alive here towards the top-hand side of your screen as you saw him for a split second. Evil as well, one of the most consistent players we've had now in this solo tournament. He's got a good kit as well. He's got the pump, got the legendary AR. He's got some good materials too. What about his position? He's in the circle.
I mean, the positioning is pretty good, right? I mean, the zone just shifted, so we're just about to see just how good this position is. But, oh, a minigun in play again. See, there's a lot of miniguns in play. Oh, Klinger's coming in.
There you go. You can see a Pestero being pestered here as he's being forced back. Tyovsky, who had a good result in the last match, finishing second overall in results in round 4. Trying to do it yet again here to finally break through into this top 10.
You see Tyovsky there, just waiting, pulling away a little bit from the minigun. Pestero is going ham here. He doesn't have too much ammo in that AR. Might want to conserve it a little bit, but I mean, who needs AR ammo when you have 250 minigun ammo?
That is 100% true. Just a quick update, QLN is still alive on the eastern side of this zone at the moment. In the meantime, you can see a lot of players starting to build up here. Macius, we saw him kind of going up against Shikuni, who is still going to be near him over in the freight yard, but the hashtag's going to be there. A lot of top places we've seen in results over the course of today still alive.
Pretty interesting position of the zone here. We can see it being halfway inside the container area, and there's a lot of sneaky places you can hide in there.
Oh yeah. It's a lot of, you pretty much need to know this inside out to know which one of these crates are open, which one of these are shut, what angles you could be shot from. And speaking about shooting from, Macy's does not have a clean kit to use into this late game. Still 0 eliminations. He's gonna need to get something on the board, or at least make that decision. Do I just play for late, or do I try to go for the elims? And there we go. We have the Storm Surge coming back in. 59 players left alive. And we're gonna start to lose out on quite a few.
Yeah, as we said, the players in the Stormwings, I mean, they do need to reach that damage threshold as well. So we might see some of them jumping out now and attempt to engage in some fight. Looking at that, like just flying down, and just everybody is in such good position to just look up and shoot at whatever is flying past them.
Yeah, it's a risky maneuver to make. Tyovsky is able to actually get into the freight yard. You can see Macius as well, still sticking around here. QLN is still going to be alive. Real time as well. He's actually below the threshold, so he's going to start taking some damage, and this is going to make things really rough for him. You can see him, he's looking for some shots. He realizes, I have to make something happen here. I have to hit something. I need to be safe, as there's still 55 players left.
I saw Icefire there with only 10 health. We haven't seen too much of him today, but yesterday he was popping off. A little bit unfortunate. Realtime looking pretty good. Actually, not too good. No shields. Does, however, have a launch pad, but yeah, he will 100% try to go for something up. Evil versus Mundo here by the edge of the hill, and Evil goes down.
Mundo, a big elimination for him. Evil having probably his worst placing to date now, which is, honestly, that's respectful of him, right? We've had 5 rounds, and this is going to be his worst, still in the top 50. Macius still going to be there. Monk as well. Hashtag Shikuni be right next to each other. We have Evil's partner, Hello, still going to be alive, though.
Yeah, that's right. And we see someone put down a launch pad over by the container area as the zone goes pretty far southwest, straight west. So we will see a lot of players recycling that. And you want to do that fast. You want to grab a position near the zone now as he starts moving, or just stay back a little bit and shoot everybody rotating and maybe grab yourself an elimination or two.
I'd say a good 70+% of the players are actually not safe at the moment, as we're going to get to those moving zones momentarily. We can hear a couple of clingers being thrown off towards Monk, and he's actually being knocked down to the ground. It's going to be Shikuni, the one looking for a fight. Monk won 1 elimination, has some RPGs to use too. You see Jarkos is still alive as well, another player who has gotten a 100-point game so far.
Yeah, does have the RPG. Not too much ammo for it, however. Ooh, Precious going down. We're seeing the action V there by Dialer. Monkey, last person to use that launch pad. Pretty nice. We'll see if we go for high ground here, or if he will just decide to bunker this out.
Well, he was trying to, as everyone started to transition here across the map. The storm is closing in. You can see laid back on that 1 elimination stuff, has a rift to go, which can be so crucial for him when we get into these closer and closer zones. You can see him trying to build up himself, trying to get that protection. And Shikuni, who has built himself up, has been unable to really do too much with this.
He did try to go for the high ground. He does actually have the high ground now, which is...
This is just like game 3.
He's just a high ground master, isn't he?
Well, we have players who say they like to play high ground. Well, he's really proven it here.
Yeah.
To go to escape again. Nothing to really heal with at the moment. Nothing to get shields back with. But he still has a decent kit to work with. 71 ammo for Shikuni is going to be a rough time, but he still has the pump and he has the first aid. I almost want to see the turret go down at some point and just spray.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see that. But we do have a Shikuni. Is this what we call a Shikuni loadout?
I mean, no, because he has that first aid, so no.
Okay, yeah, so
yeah, and he has too much HP, right?
Yeah, too much HP.
He's got to have sub 20 HP and nothing to heal with, and then it's the Shikuni
Throw out a couple of mats as well.
Exactly.
Icefire's still alive there, just hiding in Shikuni's tower, still on 10 health. Been able to survive with that for quite some time now.
Hashtag's gone down from Grisby God, who we've not seen actually a single time. We've mentioned him earlier on in this round, but we haven't seen him in the rounds prior. Mundo going to be caught outside of the storm, and he was the man to take down Evil. Shikuni will be able to help assist onto that, but not get the elimination.
A lot of players going down as saw in the action feed. Icefire is still alive, using his redeploy. Very, very dangerous. There's a couple of rifts going off, but the zone is moving. Players are going down. Teak is by the edge of the zone fighting with Snowy, and whoa.
The thing is, Teeks has had some ridiculous streaks, just like we saw QLN do in the prior round. The question is, can he do it another time? Shikuni's still going to be alive, though, on the high ground. The first aid's still going to be used, as he is running so low on ammo. 26 shots left here in the AR, 20 on the shotgun. He's running out of materials.
Players are just dropping like flies right now. We're down to 20. We're just at 40. I saw Noisy there, still alive. Yeah, on 200 health as well.
Smiley's still alive as well on top of Skix towards the bottom hand side of your screen. Will Q on top of that too. Shikuni's still maintaining the high ground. The problem is he's running out of mats. He's going to have to drop down eventually. Maybe pick up this elimination onto Dav if he can. But J-Chu, he's even still alive.
Oh, some couple of nice shots. Oh, Mocha's taking on Mikey's. Won't really get the loot, however, but Shikuni's still up here on the high ground, just dominating.
He's trying to.
Yeah, I mean, not too much ammo, but...
Clinker's coming in. Noisy, he's going to be in a rough spot. J-Chu, 2 limbs. He's got a good pump to use here of epic quality. Gumi has to take down Smiley. He's trying to get in back to the Storm. Actually trying to get around the corner to take down Noisy, and Monk's going to fall. That's going to be Kaku who gets that elimination. Now you got Brisu on the low ground. Advice eventually going to fall towards the top. And Shakun, how is he still up here with no materials? This man is trying to go off here. He's trying to get these limbs. He's trying to fight his way back into this one. I think he just took down Dab.
He did. Oh, and he's Sajimon going down right there. But I mean,
he's gotten 2 limbs in the last, what, 20, 30 seconds? He's back to full HP. He's got nothing to build with yet again. The Storm is moving, but he has an opportunity here. He still has the blue pump. He's hiding under a plate. Oh, he's going to drop down. Can he get the shot? Yes! He does. That's his third elimination. Eventually, he's going to be finished off by Gumiak, but 3 limbs is not bad.
Just popping off. We saw him going hunting there. And
Gumiak, what are you doing? What are you doing, son?
Gumiak.
He's stuck outside of the zone. I think he's going to fall for this one. Yeah, he's dropped. He's dropped to the Storm here, unfortunately. Wilku, now he's going to be the high ground master. As you can see, Spizzy trying to take it away from him, and Spizzy's not going to be able to.
Yeah, Wilco, new claimer of the high ground, man. Oh, just look at that Spizzy. Not too much health. Wilco is doing really good though on high ground. Jarkos and Noisy still alive. Noisy is in a pretty good position here. Does, however, lose 50 health. Laidback is pushing down on him.
Oh, he gets the elimination on the Laidback. Beautiful. He gets his health back up the fall. The thing is, Jarkos is going to be there. He's going to fall. Wilku and Speezy going to be fighting on the high ground. The last player is going to be on the low. Speezy's looking for the shot here as he retreats back to the Storm. He's missing his shot, so down to 17 health. Can he get this elimination? Keep his hopes alive? I know Wilku going to be alive up against Jarkos. We had a fantastic game before with 7 elimination with 100 points himself, down to 3 elims this game, but he's looking for this 1v1. He's got such an advantage here, Martin.
Wilco is so low. Just look at this. He's waiting out. Look at Jarkos has 3 campfires. He can just go for a heal off here if he wants to. Wilco is very low, as mentioned, but the zone is getting smaller and smaller. It's almost reaching its final stage.
Question here for you. You don't know how low Wilco is. Do you go for the heal off or do you go for the elimination? What would you do in this situation?
With 3 campfires, I honestly don't know. Maybe you just go for it, but it all depends on how many mats you have, right?
There's so many layers between the two, though. Yeah, and I don't know how many. He's even dancing this one. I think he realized he's going to go for the heal off on this.
Oh, I would love to see a heal off. Haven't seen one in ages. Oh, 20 mats only remaining, but he could still make a heal off out of this. But yeah, I mean, Wilco is trying to push up, so
blocks him as well, so he can't get onto the high ground. What does Wilco actually have? Can he potentially launch pad up here to actually catch him off guard like we saw yesterday in duos? You still see though, he gets the shot from the high ground, and Jarkos 4 limbs, plays that one safe, takes the victory royale.
Just being super careful, holding the angles.
I can respect that, you know? You don't need to be flashy, just need to get that victory and get those points.
Did flash a little bit though with the emote.
Oh yeah, of course. You gotta flex.
You kind of have to do that, right? I would.
Incredible stuff, gentlemen, once again then. And I mean, coming into this one, we were looking at the leaderboards and how things were going to change around. And there's a couple of big stories coming out of this one for me. I mean, obviously, congratulations on the victory royale there for Jarkos, his second one of the day. But I'm looking at Evil there. We were talking about him before the game. He didn't get in the placements in this one. He got caught off guard.
Sometimes you just have those games, right? I mean, Shakuni as well, up against Macias, he could have potentially fallen really early on as well. It's just kind of, you know, rolling the dice, trying to play the best you can in any given situation.
And as we mentioned, like, players are going more aggressive now as we enter the later stages of the tournament, and that might have something to do with it. Like, it causes there's more potential for you, or more risk rather, for you to drop down, like just getting pushed from all directions.
And no surprises to see that Shakuni making it towards the end game again. He picked up 3 eliminations along the way as well, so he's going to have those points in the bag as well. So he's putting himself still in a very good position. But we talked about how having consistency versus big games at the moment in solo seems to be the interesting thing for me, because we're looking at the consistency of Evil and how he's placing well in the majority of these. But Jarkos, who's had 2 monster games so far and picked up 100 points in 2 games, he's still very much in contention for this first place spot. So, I mean, coming down to these final games now, it's a case of anyone can still get in there if they have a monster game. Maybe looking at those 2 players, they can kind of take a page out of each other's books, though. One can look for a couple more limbs, and one maybe is going to play a little bit of a slower game.
I think we're seeing as well how close all these players are skill-wise. The fact that we are now in round 5 and the standings are still so close. You said it was about 70 points between 1st and 10th place with your quick maths. I don't know what it's going to be now, but you can assume it's still going to maintain that kind of route, which means game 6 and 7 are going to be so important now for all these players.
Yeah, and you said consistency. We're seeing the same kind of players and top 20, top 10 over and over, and it's just so good to see. I mean, consistency is key.
Okay, well, we're actually going to pass this down to Adam on the floor now, who is down with the man who just picked up the victory royale. It's Jarkos.
Thanks very much, Mark. As indeed, I am joined now by our Katowice Royale Game 5 winner. Jarkos, you must feel amazing right now. This is twice you've been up here today. How do you feel right now?
I feel so nice. it's amazing.
Walk us through what just happened in the end game there. You had the high ground. Was that the advantage you needed to win that thing?
I think that was good that I took high ground, and I had opportunity on the enemy. I had like free converse, so if he had so much mass and other stuff, so I can win with heals, and I know he didn't have full HP, but I just took this high ground and won the game.
Now it turns out I'm just hearing my ear here. You've gone to number 3 in the ranking now, which is amazing. It's amazing. Other players, there was Macius, there was like QLN. Other players in that kind of region. Are there anyone that you think could be up there with you? Any other players that you think are really good that are playing here today as well?
Yeah, I think players that can stand is like QLN, and we can see Mozart and Richard. We can see Hopek and other guys like this.
There we go. And Shakuni's doing incredibly well as well. So
I think he may be able to win this tournament.
we've got a couple more rounds to go in this competition. I mean, you're up here twice. The trophy is getting ever closer. You look like you're looking confident. Do you think you can take this thing?
Yeah, he's able.
Okay, there we go. Jarkos there, guys. Absolutely brilliant. Amazing. Keep this going. And you could be winning this trophy and taking this home later on. Until then, back to you, Mark.
I love Jarkos. He's such a nice guy, very humble as well in his reactions there, saying, there's a couple of other players still in contention who he feels can win still. But I want to concentrate on the end of that game and the way that Jarkos played it, because he was saying he could have gone for the heal-off. But let's take ourselves back to the interview that we had before, and he says, I just like getting eliminations. Maybe that came into it a bit. It's like, there's 5 points extra here. I'm going to go for those extra 5 points.
I mean, I think it's about playing smart, right? I think he realizes that game he had was able to bump him up the leaderboard so far. Just get that victory, right? Get that extra bit of points on your belt. Because the thing is, if he doesn't get the elimination, he still gets more points from first to second than he would have got from those 5 points anyways. So worst case scenario, you still make more than with the elim, but he got the extra points on top with the final shot.
Yeah, you're right. He was so calm as well during his interview, so he must have been very calm and composed at the end of the game there. And I mean, one mistake and it could all be over, but he just held it together and brought it home.
I think the fact that, he's been on stage a couple of times now, a couple of interviews, and obviously he seemed very calm and composed as a personality, and obviously that is transferring into the game as well. Now, when you get down to those final 2 situations, it's, your heart rate goes up naturally, you get a little bit more nervous, but he seems like the kind of character who's been able to deal with that.
Mate, I'm happy if I get like top 20 in a game right now. I couldn't imagine the pressure you get under when you're in that kind of situation, but I think it's showing and kind of proving to what we said before about, a lot of these players out there might be really under pressure when they're on a stage in front of a crowd being in these top 10 situations, but that composure is fantastic out of Jarkos.
Well, speaking of top 10, you can see the top 10 at the moment. Shakuni still holding down that number 1 spot on 288 points. QLN just behind him, and the man that just won picked up the victory royale in our last game, Jarkos there, 257 points on the board for him. We've talked about Noisy as well. You can see him sneaking into contention a little bit here. 159 points for him, and he had a pretty solid game in that.
Before we talked about Noisy, can I mention one thing about Evil? Because we talked about before the match started, consistency is great, but you need to have one of those standout games. He's gone from 3rd place to 5th place to 7th place now. He needs to have that really breakthrough game if he wants to be able to maintain like a top 3 or take home that 1st place.
And I mean, as you get points, everybody else gets points as well, right? So at the same time, it's close, but at the same time, everybody else gets points as well. So if you have a good game, but whoever is above you has a good game as well, you're not going to really climb too much.
Yeah, exactly. But Noisy, as you're mentioning, like we've seen him consistently getting into these late game positions. I want to know, like, how is his elim game going? Because we are seeing over the course of today how important getting elims are. I'm hoping him and Lothar are changing things up mentally to be more aggressive, because we did see him be a lot more aggressive a lot earlier than we normally see.
Yeah, so Noise is a master of rotations and getting to end game, whereas don't get me wrong, his aim is really good as well. There's nothing wrong with that, Noisy.
Careful, he's going to watch this back.
I know, that's why I'm
just realized how big he is.
Kind of careful here. But yeah, he's a master of rotations, and so he's one of these players that doesn't necessarily want to go for eliminations early, but want to focus on the end game, because that's what he knows
Okay, guys. Well, fantastic stuff as always. We have everything set up beautifully for our next 2 games, which are obviously still to come. We're going to go for a break right now. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back very soon.